Hello, friends, how are you? Once again, we continue with this marvelous book, Biology of Plants. Reading in the page number 9, we are quite in progress. We are in the mid of the chapter 1, dedicated to the introduction of botany. And as you know, while I'm reading, if I have some question regarding the pronunciation, then I use my favorite application in the mobile, Google Translator, and with this I check the proper pronunciation in order to do the best I can for you and you to learn and me to practice and learn too, for sure. So now we are going to continue with the evolution of communities. The invasion of the land by plants changed the face of the continent. Looking down from an airplane, no one of Earth's great expanses of desert or no one of its mountain ranges, we can begin to imagine what the world looked like before the appearance of plants. Yet, even in these regions, the traveler who goes by land will find an astonishing, how is this? Let's check this. Astonishing. Asombroso, ¿eh?
Astonishing. Astonishing.
Astonishing. Astonishing. Astonishing. So you will find an astonishing variety of plants punctuating It's the first time I read this. Punctuating. Puntuando. Let's check this.
Punctuating. Punctuating.
Punctuating. Puntuando. Punctuating.
Punctuating.
Punctuating. Okay, this is really, really different, as I could imagine, of plants punctuating the expanses of rock and sand. In those parts of the world where the climate is more temperate and the rains are more frequent, communities of plants dominate the land and determine its character. In fact, to a large extent, there are the land, rainforest, savanna, woods, desert, tundra. Each of these words bring to mind a portrait of a landscape. The main features of each landscape are its plants, enclosing us in a dark green cathedral in our imaginary rainforest, carpeting the ground beneath our feet with wildflowers in a meadow, moving in great golden waves as far as the eye can see across our imaginary prairie. Wow! Only when we have sketched these biomes, natural communities of wide extent, characterized by distinctive climatically controlled groups of plants and animals in terms of trees and shrubs and grasses. What does it mean, shrubs? Shrubs. Arbustos. No, I think it was Bush, no? George Bush. And shrubs. Arbustos. Shrubs and bushes. Shrubs and bushes. Okay, so it's somehow some kind of arbustos or shrubs and grasses. Let's see first the pronunciation.
Shrubs.
Shrubs and grasses, hierbas, can we feel in other features such as deer, antelope, rabbits, or wolves. Lobos. How do vast plant communities, such as those seen on a continental scale, come into being? To some extent, we can trace the evolution of the different kinds of plants and animals that populate these communities. Even with accumulating knowledge, however, we have only begun to glimpse the far more complex pattern of development through time of the whole system of organisms that make up these various communities. Let's continue with the next paragraph. Ecosystems are relatively stable, integrated units that are dependent on photosynthetic organisms. Such communities, along with the non-living environment of which they are a part, are known as ecological systems, or let's move a little bit this in order to have in the same place microphone, book, and screen, and mobile. Yes. So an ecosystem is a kind of corporate entity made up of transient individuals. Some of these individuals, the larger trees, live as long as several thousand years. Others, the microorganisms, live only a few hours or even minutes. Yet the ecosystem as a whole tends to be remarkable is easy because it's VLE, but VLY, remarkably, let's check this. Notablemente.
Remarkably.
Repeat, remarkably stable, although not static. Once in balance, it does not change for centuries. Our grandchildren may someday walk along a woodland path once followed by our great-grandparents, and where they saw a pine tree, a mulberry bush, a meadow mouse, wild blueberries, I don't know the meaning nor the pronunciation. It's like berries, it's like fresa or but blue. Okay, maybe some kind of can be these frutas del bosque. Berries. Arándanos. Arándanos, exactly. Blueberries. While blueberries or a robin, these children of this good land still exist. We'll see roughly the same kinds of plants and animals in the same numbers. An ecosystem functions as an integrated unit, although many of the organisms in the system compete for resources. Virtually every living thing, even the smallest bacterial cell or fungal spore, provides a food source for some of the living organisms. In this way, the energy captured by green plants is transferred in a highly regulated way through a number of different types of organisms before it is dissipated. Moreover, interactions among the organisms themselves and between the organisms and the non-living environment produce an orderly cycling of elements such as nitrogen and phosphorus. Energy must be energy must be added to the ecosystem constantly. But the elements are cycled through the organisms, returned to the soil, decomposed by soil bacteria and fungi, and recycled. These transfers of energy and the cycling of elements involve complicated sequences of events. Let's check this. Events is very easy, but always sometimes it's more complicated and sometimes no. We make complicated. So events, complicated sequences of events, and in these sequences, each group of organisms has a highly specific role. As a consequence, it is impossible to change single component of an ecosystem without the risk of destroying the balance on which the stability of the ecosystem depends. You see? So destroying one species in one ecosystem is a high risk for the whole ecosystem. Remember that. At the base of productivity in almost all ecosystems are the plants. Algae. Algae. And photosynthetic or photosynthetic. Photosynthetic or photosynthetic.
Photosynthetic. Photosynthetic.
Photosynthetic. Photosynthetic.
Photosynthetic.
Photosynthetic. And photosynthetic bacteria. These organisms alone have the ability to capture energy from the sun and to manufacture organic molecules that they and all other kinds of organisms may require for life. There are roughly 500,000 kinds of organisms capable of photosynthesis photosynthesis. So it's photosynthesis, photosynthetic, photosynthetic. They're quite similar words, but always is photosynthesis, and at least 20 times that many heterotrophic organisms, which are completely dependent on the photosynthesizers. For animals, including human beings, many kinds of molecules, including essential amino acids. Let's check this.
Amino acids. Amino acids.
Amino acids. Amino acids. Vitamins and minerals. Minerals. Amino acids, vitamins, and minerals can be obtained only through plants and other photosynthetic organisms. Furthermore, the oxygen that is released into the atmosphere by photosynthetic organisms makes it possible for life to exist on the land and in the surface layers of the ocean. Oxygen is necessary for the energy producing metabolic activities because it's not H involved in the middle. So, metabolic activities of the great majority of organisms, including photosynthetic organisms. So, let's continue a little bit more. We are progressing quite fast. Appearance of human beings. Human beings are relatively newcomers to the world of living organisms. In the entire history of the Earth, were measured on a 24-hour time scale starting at midnight, cells could appear in the warm seas before dawn. The first multicellular, let's check this.
Multicellular. 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 Multicellular.
Multicellular.
Multicellular.
Multicellular. Multicellular. Multicellular. Multicellular. It's not so easy. The first multicellular organisms would not be present until well after sundown, and the earliest appearance of humans about 2 million years ago. 2 million years ago? No, was more. Was 3 million years ago. The humans would be about half a minute before the day's end. Yet humans, more than any other animal and almost as much as the plants that invaded the land, have changed the surface of the planet, shaping the biosphere according to their own needs, ambitions, or follies. Follies? What does it mean, follies? Locuras. The fool. Fool. Follies. Locuras. With the cultivation of crops, starting about 10,500 years ago, it became possible to maintain growing populations of people that eventually built towns and cities. This development, reviewed in detail in chapter 21, allowed specialization and the diversification of human culture. One characteristic of this culture is that it examines itself and the nature of other living things, including plants. Eventually, the science of biology developed within the human communities that had been made possible through the domestication of plants. Eventually, the science of biology developed within the human communities that had been made possible through the domestication of plants. The part of biology that deals with plants and, by tradition, with prokaryotes, fungi and algae, is called botany or plant biology. Really interesting thing. Now, So the human appears very late on Earth, but you see, the impact is terrible. But of course, we are so many in the planet. Let's try one more paragraph and then we will stop. So let's continue a little bit more. Plant biology includes many different areas of study. The study of plants has been pursued for thousands of years, but like all branches of science, it became diverse and specialized only during the 20th century. 20th century. Until the late 80s, botany was a branch of medicine. Medicine. Pursued chiefly by physicians who used plants for medicinal purposes and who were interested in determining the similarities and differences between plants and animals for that purpose. Today, however, plant biology is an important scientific discipline that has many subdivisions. Plant psychology, which is the study of how plants function, that is how they capture and transform energy and how they grow and develop. Plant morphology, the study of the form of plants. Plant anatomy, the study of their internal structure. Plant taxonomy and systematics involving the naming and classifying of plants and the study of the relationship among them. Cytology, the study of cell structure, function, and life histories. Genetics, the study of heredity and variation. Genomics, the study of the content, organization, and function of genetic information in whole genomes. Molecular biology, the study of the structure and function of biological molecules. Economic botany, the study of past, present, and future uses of plants by people. Ethnobotany, the study of the uses of plants for medicinal and other purposes by indigenous peoples. Indigenous. Poblados indígenas. Indigenous. Purposes by indigenous peoples. Ecology, the study of the relationship between organisms and their environment. And paleobotany, the study of the biology and evolution of fossil plants. Included in this book are all organisms that have traditionally been studied by botanists. Surely, it's botanist. Botanists. Ooh. Botanists. Not only plants, but also prokaryotes, viruses, fungi, and autotrophic protists, algae. Non-photosynthetic eukaryotes and protists have traditionally been the province of also. Let's go to the zoo of zoologists. Zoologists. Although we don't regard algae, fungi, prokaryotes, or viruses as plants, and shall not refer to them as plants in this book, they are included here because the tradition and because they are normally considered part of the botanical portion of the curriculum. Curriculum comes from Latin, but who knows how is in English the pronunciation. Plan de estudios, yes.
Curriculum.
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 Curriculum. Curriculum. Curriculum. Curriculum. Curriculum. My God. Part of the botanical portion of the curriculum. Curriculum. The botanical portion of the curriculum, just as botany itself used to be considered a part of medicine. So, how do you see? At the end, there are plenty animals, or let's say different than plants, like algae, fungi, prokaryotes, or viruses that are also in this book because of tradition. Incredible. Okay, very, very curious. Moreover, both prokaryotes, e.g. nitrogen-fixing bacteria, and fungi, e.g. mycorrhizal fungi, one kind of fungi, form important, mutually beneficial symbiotic relationship with their plant hosts. Virology, bacteriology, phycology, the study of algae, and mycology, the study of fungi. Phycology, the study of algae, and mycology, the study of fungi. Are well-established fields in their own right, but they still fall loosely under the umbrella of botany. And then I finish here. Okay, friends, I hope this is of... Okay, friends, I wait. Okay, friends, I hope that this program is useful for you. That's the reason I prepare these readings in English, because, okay, it's tough for me. You have to think that reading this book is the first time I'm reading so deep in detail botany concepts that are completely new, but it's very, 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 very useful for me too. Sure. I'm practicing quite a lot, reading in English and improving pronunciation and knowing more about the meaning of these words. Okay, friends, so I think it's time to stop for a while and see you in the next program in 1 week. Only 1 week, we are again in the daily strategies program. Okay, see you very soon. Goodbye.